Greetings, good people, and thank you for joining me in this exploration about where in the world we keep our attention and how easy it can be to become unconscious and place our attention on the unwanted. Welcome to my channel. My name is Antoinette Cooper, and my channel, Antoinette Be Free, is for Black folk who love freedom, are about that freedom, or want to know more about this liberation and how it echoes through our bones. So be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. In this episode of Being Free, I wanted to focus on the mind and how we so unconsciously keep our mind on the unwanted, and how to be able to tap into being attentive to where our mind is. For me, that journey started with meditation, and the journey with meditation started with being told to sign up for a depression class. And in that class, we had an assignment, which was to do a body scan meditation every day for 30 days. I did the assignment not because I really bought into meditation, but because I like being a good student. And so then doing the assignment for 30 days, I started to notice how absent I was in the way I was living. I started to notice how absent I was from my own body, how absent I was from my own surroundings. And a large part of that has to do with the life that I've lived and the amount of trauma and violence that I've grown up around in. And now I'm someone who meditates every day. I go to meditation retreats, Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation retreats. I've lived in a Buddhist monastery for 6.5 months, and I can talk about that another time on the YouTube channel. And I've developed being in relationship with my mind, whereas before my mind just did whatever my mind did. But now being in relationship with my mind, and I can start to hear the little voice inside of my head, like, what are my thoughts doing? How humorous it can be sometimes, but also how devastating it can sometimes be. And I know that sometimes when I'm unconscious and I become conscious of my own thoughts, that especially when I'm stressed or when I have anxiety, where my mind is actually going is that my mind is focusing on the unwanted. And focusing on the unwanted makes complete sense. If you've grown up in violence, if you've grown up around trauma, if you've grown up in survival mode, then paying attention to the unwanted, it keeps you alive. It keeps you out of harm. It keeps you in a position where harm is decreased, right? And so if we have that training, and I've had that training, then my training is to always focus on the unwanted. And that's a beautiful skill for survival, but not the skill to develop if I want to have a created life. If I want to have a created life, then what would it look like to focus on the wanted? And I know sometimes children get in trouble for this in school, right? It's called daydreaming, and their parents get a complaint about this child wasn't staying focused in school. It could be that they were focusing their mind on the wanted, that the present situation was not wanted for them, and so their mind took them somewhere else, and returning to that as an adult. So if I find myself in anxiety, it might look like, for one moment, for a moment, 1 minute, placing my attention on the wanted, allowing myself to go there, allowing myself to visualize and be with and feel all that I do want, regardless of the how, regardless of whether I think it's possible or not. Just being with my attention, noticing where my attention is, and that it's focused on the unwanted, something that's future, that's not even in my present. And how about I use my attention instead for 1 moment to focus on the wanted? Doing that for 1 moment, for 1 minute, can change my state. It can be like a mini vacation for my mind. And then if reality is beckoning me and calling my attention back, then okay, I'll go back to whatever state I was in. but I can always return to this mini vacation for my mind and focusing my attention on the wanted for a moment. And I have that as a tool. And as I continue to practice that, then it strengthens my ability to focus on the wanted as a habit rather than the habit of always focusing on the unwanted. So as you consciously spend time with your mind, I'm curious to hear about what begins to arise for you. What do you start to notice? And I invite you to share in the comment section or share anything that is showing up for you in this process of being conscious about your attention. Thank you so much for your attention. Comment, like, share, and of course, subscribe. Have a beautiful day.